Welcome back, everyone, to the Soul Journeys podcast. I am very excited to introduce you to a very special lady who also happens to be a friend and a very powerful, innovative creator. And you're going to hear all about what she's created on today's show. But before we go into that, I would like to formally welcome Julia Munck to the show. She is an accomplished product executive with a long career in the gaming industry, and she has applied her very tech savvy skills, her techie skills. You geek out on tech stuff, which my husband appreciates. Me, I really wish I had that skill, but I don't. So she has gone ahead from her own spiritual journey and created an app called Saged App. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this because I really think it's something it's already really profound, but especially in these times, Julia, I think it's something that's going to help people keep on track as we navigate the paradox. So I'm also a board advisor on Sage App, which is pretty fun. And we get to cook up lots of great things. So welcome to the show, Julia.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's such a pleasure to be with you. It's such a pleasure to know you and take part of all the wisdom and grace and beauty that you bring. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, well, thank you. All right. Where do we even begin? Oh, so much to talk about. Let's maybe back up to that moment that you found yourself in a spiritual awakening and just like walk us through a little bit of what your life looked like before that happened and then what it looked like after that happened.
The Great Awakening. Yes, for sure. So, I'm originally from Sweden and found myself moved to San Francisco about 20 years ago to pursue a dream of being like this video game exec. And that's something I really wanted to do. And, 20 years later or so, I found myself accomplished, having reached the goal of being a VP of product in the gaming industry. Oh my God, that's what I always wanted to do. I had a beautiful family, I have my kids, and I'm like, wow, on paper, my life's perfect. Why is my soul saying, meh? So it's just like, what's that? What's in there? Like, this is what I thought I wanted and what I thought I needed. So that unleashed the seeker in me, and started to really go deeper and sort of like, what is it that I want? If this is not it, then what is? Like, what else is there? And luckily in my community here in San Francisco, there was a lot of resources available in terms of spiritual healers and guides and whatever. So I started to really go deep and to discover more and learn more about myself and what my soul's journey and yearning really was about. Like, what is my legacy? What do I want my children to say about me? Oh, she was a VP at a game company. Like, no, that's not it. It can't be. So after, probably a good year, like talking to a lot of spiritual leaders, etc., like this idea started coming up about, wow, I can actually create the life I really want. Like I was so stuck in the matrix of what I thought that things needed to look like that I forgot that I am the creatrix of my own world and of things. And as I started to ignite that again in me, I'm like, wow, I can create. I'm actually a creatrix. Great. Then that sort of opened the floodgates for me in terms of like, what is it that I want to do? What is the stuff that I want to create for the times right now? And, a lot of the things when I was in my spiritual journey, like there wasn't a lot of resources necessarily available. Like, you would meet with a healer and that would be great, but then maybe 2 months would pass and you would go back into your regular life again. And then you met somebody else and then you get exciting and you got back again. I'm like, I need something to help me stay regular with my daily spiritual practice. It helps me to sort of check in on this every day. So I'm like, that's what I'm going to create. And that's kind of how the idea of Saged came along, like as a tool for spiritual seekers to stay on track every day, to do something every day, to sort of keep up with the idea that you can manifest, that you are divine, that you have the power to create the life that you really want to live. So that's sort of how it all came about. And and I feel so lucky to have met so many amazing people along this spiritual journey. And, sometimes it was the simplest things that really created the biggest shifts in me. And for that, I was so grateful. You think when you're on your awakening journey, it has to be so big and like giant things are going to happen, shamanic release, but sometimes just a conversation and a couple of words was it took to get the wheels churning. And I'm like, oh, wow, that opened up a whole new thing for me. So, it took, Sage was an idea that just had to be birthed through me. Like there was no choice to, like, I could not do it. It was interesting, a mom and, VP, whatever, like big career. But and on the side, I was still working on stage. I was up all night and I'm like, I'm going to design this thing and I'm going to do it. And I was straddling for a long time in like both worlds, but Sage just had to be created. And I was so passionate for that to come to life. So the app has been around for 3 years almost now. And it's been such a joy to see it, grow from night side hustle into something that is actually flourishing and that people want and need to really be of service in this time.
I'm just even thinking, I remember having a similar experience when you're in a job that you think you're meant to be, or you maybe strive for it and you have all of the outward accomplishments, and then you have the spiritual journey that comes in. And I'm curious to know what that was like, just to remain in a job that you knew wasn't cutting it while you're having all of these spiritual epiphanies.
Yeah, it was really interesting, right? To sort of try to bring that world into what I was doing. So I would, start talking a little bit more about astrology and gratitude and just bringing in some of that, and I would get a lot of blank stares. I was lucky in a way that gaming industry is already very creative and it's more open, and there's a little bit of that, but there was also a lot of like, what is she talking about? Now I have my little crystals on my desk and, like just decking it out. But I have to say, I had the pleasure of working with an executive coach around that time, and that I was, sharing my story with, like, this is what I'm creating. And she was very spiritual as well. So she helped me how to straddle both worlds and just like really have a foot in each world, because the reason why you still have your old job is because there's still lessons to be learned and lessons that you can apply on your other venture that's feeding your soul. So really working the tours, and that was amazing advice. Otherwise, I just felt trapped, before I had heard that. And I'm like, oh, there's lessons and learnings, and it's okay to be in both worlds and move forward. But in terms of, it was kind of fun to sort of weave that in and just talk a little bit more freely about it. But it's better now, and I can talk about that stuff all day long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it would have been easy for you to stay in that in some ways, right? Like you had the status, you had the position, you had the prestige, you had the paycheck, and all the things that we're taught that we need to aspire to. And yet there's this thing, and I don't know what the thing is. There's that intangible thing, right, that we don't always know, and that also can make it really challenging. Like, it's interesting where in some ways we can stay where we are and be 75% comfortable, or we can just go after what we really want and have a different kind of discomfort but feel more alive.
Yeah
Totally. I feel like that's kind of what we're going through right now in the world. There's some compromises we're needing to make. There's some negotiations we're being asked to make. There's some paradoxes that are different, obviously, than that, but a different kind of paradox that's happening in the world. So how do we navigate all that? How do we honor what we're being called to create and also deal with restrictions? How do we love the people in our life and be able to hold them in our life when there's maybe some disagreements, some like significant philosophical disagreements? How do we navigate that? Yeah, especially with using the app.
Yeah. It's a great point you bring up, because it's just that, we know what the world is really moving to the unity consciousness. Like, we're all one, it's all love, and we're all one. But right now there's so much divisiveness, right? So like, how do we make that journey together? And so some of the practices that we have in the app to really help with that is, simple prayers. It's less about tell them this and this and this and that. Like, no, just what you need to do is to hold a higher frequency that's already calling in the love, and that's already in the frequency of love. So that's really the practice that we like to do. And there's some of the go-to things that we have for that, like the Honourable Prayer. I am so sorry. I love you. I thank you. Please forgive me. It's a beautiful practice and something that we really urge people to do a lot. I do this in my life also. Like, you know, whenever there's family stuff or whatever, that's I just stick to that beautiful prayer. Like, you know I have a part in what's going on. I'm sorry, but I have unconditional love for you. Please forgive me. I thank you for everything that you bring. And just like, that's where we go, rather than he said, she said, and this one and that one. Oh, I have to go here and fix stuff, or I have to go over here and fix. Like, no, just elevate your frequency and call that in, which I think is very important. So that's really one of the practices we have. So we do daily rituals in the app. So the way we structure the rituals is really by looking at the sun and the moon, and where are they in the sky, and what kind of energy is this bringing on to us right now? Is there earth signs, water signs, air signs? And look, what can we do to really ground ourselves in this moment? And it could be simple things like the prayer, or a ritual of just, you know, gazing at nature or something like that, to really hone you in and ground you, because we need everybody to be really grounded through these times, and also opening up their channels to get guidance from you know, higher beings and the higher self. So that's really what we try to do. And, you know, there's so many tools that are available to help people achieve this. Of course, meditation is beautiful. Even Akashic records as well. You know, there's so many tools. What we try to focus on is the, you know, simple things that one can do, that you actively can do. Like, I also know, you know, I have 2 kids and a husband and family. Like, I don't always have a lot of time. So it's really about how can you do something in a condensed way. And this Honopono prayer is short. It's great. And it's so powerful, you know, just to sort of sit with that, just even for 5 minutes, and just say that to yourself, or whatever it takes, then you really, something shifts in you. So I do believe that it's with simple tools like that, of the frequency of the gratitude, of the unconditional love, and those types of frequencies, that can really help the evolution of the planet. And also for more people to wake up and do what makes their soul sing. You know, that's what it is. Like, how can we break out of the fear matrix of like, I need to stick at my horrible job, my 70, even if it's 75%, it's like 25% too little, like, to really be something that you would like, that's the life you want to live. So it's like, how do more people take the leap of faith into doing something that truly is their heart's desire? So that's another thing that we're doing. And we've had so many beautiful stories of our SH members who are taking those leaps. Like, hey guys, I just became a Reiki master. I just became a naturopath, or whatever. So there's like so many people that are feeling, oh, there's support here. There's a community of these people that's holding this frequency. Let me see what I can do. What else can I do to get into that? But it really starts with just like this openness of like the understanding of the oneness that we need to get. We're all created equal. We all have the same opportunities, and that's the frequency that we need to hold.
I love that. And it just makes me think, like, because I have this happen too, where I'll declare that I'm going to do things. And 5 minutes of spiritual practice a day is nothing. And yet there's times in our lives where it feels like the biggest burden. Like, even working out, we could get a good workout actually in a half an hour, but all of a sudden we magically don't have a half an hour in the day, but we're not. And there's times we're not being honest with ourselves because we're maybe just cruising on social media for like 2 hours, right? And we're like, I don't have any time. But meanwhile, we know darn well we don't have time. But I what do you think is different about the app though? Because you've had a lot of people download this app, and you have a lot of members that subscribe to the app. So how is it designed in such a way that it doesn't feel like a chore, even for 5 minutes of carving this out?
Yeah.
There's got to be a psychology to how you've created that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but there's no pressure that you have to come and you have to do. It's really something that pours you in. And the way we designed it is through, making it so simple. Like it's not that short. It's not the 20 minutes. It might even be 1 minute. It might not even just be, hey, imagine this or ponder on this today. So just put the bar really low, like there's no pressure. There's not 20-minute timer. You have to meditate now, because even that's stressful. Like I'm done with the timers. I'm done with the have tos. It's just like, here's just an invitation for you to consider something different. And that's really what's drawing in. And then like from a technical point of view, of course, we have push notifications, stuff like that. So today is a blah, blah day, time for this. And that's something like, oh, thank you for the reminder. I need to do that kind of work. But for me, because I get really allergic to things that feel too much like a chore. So it's really about like creating something that is way more fluid. And also, if you miss a day, we're not going to penalize you. It's not like you failed at spirituality, you missed a day. It's like, no, that's fine. You can take whatever you need, like just come back. And there's always a point for you to come back. And the thing that we also, because a lot of the people on the app are new to spirituality too, or just having that first awakening. It's like, whoa, I don't know what's going on. I don't even know where to go. I maybe don't have time for like the 6-week course or whatever. I need to start somewhere. And that's really who Sage was originally designed for. Like seekers are just need something to grab onto. Like, okay, what are we doing? How do we do this? And to make sure that there's like really great content, awesome contributors, and it's all vetted, it's all short form. And that's really what we want to do. And then we have other like fun activities, like you can send love and you can, have community boards. So if you want to go deeper, there's so many ways you can do that. And of course, we have live classes too for people who are ready to maybe take another step, where we have amazing teachers like yourself come in and do a live class. It was so good. And we do moon circles because we really feel like, the moon is a perfect thing for, especially for newbies to start with, because it's so apparent in the sky. Like we know people go crazy during the full moon, and just like, well, why is that? What does the moon do to us? How does it affect us? And how do we work with that in our own life? And one thing that I felt, working in a mostly male dominated industry back in the day, right? It was just like the men somehow were able to create on a continuum, like from A to B. They were just creating all the time. And like, I couldn't. For me, it was impossible. Like it ebbed and flowed. And I felt like there was something wrong with me because I wasn't able to like do the same output. And then learning to work with the moon, I'm like, I'm not supposed to work like that. I have, at the new moon, I start an idea, the full moon, I release it, and I take a little break, and that's the cycle I'm on. And that like blew my mind completely, and I have a very different approach to the creative process because of that. And really working with the moon is also how I work, creating Sage, is to be like, okay, we use these 28-day cycles to ebb and flow with the creative process. So we have a lot of focus on that for people to like get in with that. It's not just for women, of course, for men too. Everybody is affected by the moon, but we do put a lot of emphasis around that. So a lot of our users come in for the moon stuff, like, okay, it's the full moon, great, now we release the new moon, okay, I set my intention. So we do lives like moon ceremonies on the new moon, the first quarter moon, the full moon, the third quarter moon, to help people along the phases and make the most of it. So that seems to be one of those things that's just like, it's giving people a lot of support, and that's very very popular. And and it's so sweet. Like we get a lot of reviews on the app stores and all that stuff, and I get a ping on my phone every time somebody leaves a 5-star review, and this every day, like ping, ping, ping. I'm like, and the stuff people write is just, I might have like, oh, this is a lot of work for me. Can I do it? And then bing, I get a 5-star review. I'm like, cool, yes, let's keep going. Like this is really serving people in a great way. So getting that constant feedback also from people is just helping shape the app, helping shape everything we do, and really solidifying what we're doing, and make sure we just up our game every day.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, there's a valuable lesson in that too for us in business, right? And especially for those of us that are spiritual entrepreneurs, because we want to know we're making a difference. We get into business because we want to make a difference. And all of the seeds that you're planting are compounding. So sometimes, you plant a strawberry seed, and I think strawberries take like 4 to 6 weeks to grow, for example. And then you plant pineapples, and it takes about 18 months. And if you plant bamboo, it literally doesn't appear. And then 5 years, all of a sudden you've got bamboo that's 6 feet tall. It's literally like overnight, it seems. And it's, so I feel like there's different things in business that are going to catch on quickly and others, but then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, oh, the compound effect, look at what happened. And I feel like, well, Stage already has that, but there will be a time, right, where all of a sudden, you're getting Oprah contacting you like, hey, we're going to feature you and whatever. And you'll be like, oh, okay, thank God, finally get a platform where I can reach, the volume of people that I want to reach. So yeah, I love that. And I think it's great to have these kind of reminders, because it's way too easy, I think, to get in the habit of starting the day logging into social media or checking text messages or checking Yahoo News or whatever people, consciously or unconsciously step into. And if we were starting our day with this and ending our day with this, right, what would be different about how our day goes? So with everything going on this year, especially where you are, because it's such an innovative place, and yet so much is changing in your area, right? Just as far as like there's innovation, and then there's also a standstill in some ways, right? In a lot of ways. So what kind of things do you think we're going to be facing this year, and how do we navigate that?
It's a good question. I think there's continued uncertainty this year, as we sort of reemerge from the pandemic, and as the pandemic comes in waves and goes, and we're just like, is it safe to come out and play? Is it? So I think just teetering on that edge of uncertainty is something that we're seeing and feeling, and just trying to get a grip of this new world. So I think it's more important than ever to have a practice, something that you just check in with yourself, and that you get really grounded, and that you can handle whatever is thrown your way as we wake up. But I also feel like, it's kind of a great opportunity for people who have been feeling stuck, to maybe this is the opportunity to try that other thing. Maybe to take that leap of faith, because the world is shifting and the world is changing. So like, maybe this is the time to maybe stretch a little further. But, I would say for sure, like having something that grounds you, if it is a meditation practice or working with the moon or whatever, it's going to be more important than ever, because the planet also needs people to live that frequency. Just like we need that love consciousness to really be held high. And we're also, we're healing from so much grief and so much loss from the past, almost 18 months now, right? So we need to heal together. And the best way to do that is just to get really grounded and really feel yourself and open your heart.
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting time, isn't it? Because there's obviously a lot of just bizarre, wild Twilight Zone stuff. And depending on where we are in the world, and depending on our upbringing and our socioeconomic status, and how we identify and all the things, right, can add even more layers to that. And yet there's a lot of really beautiful things happening. I think of the people I've met during this time. I'm seeing a lot of compassion with people, a lot of kindness, people going out of their way to do really cool things, but definitely seeing a lot of innovation. Part of it has been forced, and part of it, I think, just when we're in this hibernation almost, or this void, this energy of standing still, I do think it makes space for creativity to come through. And so I'd love to hear your perspective on what kind of things you're observing with because you interview so many people, right? And you're encountering so many people. So what's kind of the general vibe of what you're seeing out there?
What are we seeing? So we're seeing a lot of, obviously there's a trend towards the digital, to people exploring new ways of distributing content. So, which is beautiful, just trying to find more reach. But it's also alienating, especially in the healing world, like people who don't have marketing skills, right? So all of a sudden you're seeing a little bit of a schism between people who are very adept at social media or have the resources to get help, versus those who don't. So it's been very uneven play field is what I'm seeing. But I also see a lot more people are working now with the digital world in terms of creating courses, and people who might have done more one-on-one or group stuff before, right? So, which is great, because all of a sudden you have global reach for your wisdom, which is like, yes, that's great. So I see as a beautiful thing as it's moving forward. Other things that we're seeing and hearing from our community is just the willingness to really go bigger, to really like, okay, like what else can I do? Bring it on. How can I up-level my game? What can I do to up-level my frequency? So that's great. We see a lot more, like on the Sage platform, a lot more people buying services from people like, oh, give me a reading, give me a healing, give me this, give like help, how do I move forward? And actually doing that with the help of amazing practitioners is a really beautiful way to go forward. So I definitely see like there's more like interest around that, but and that there's more things coming available digitally, which is great.
I love that. So, well, without giving it away, I don't want to give away names because I don't know. Anyways, there's a lot of celebrities and other people that have downloaded the app, and there's a lot. How many? You must be over 100,000 downloads now.
Yeah, we're at probably 250,000. Yeah, 250,000 downloads right now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow, that's more than doubled since the last time we even talked about that.
Yeah, I know.
That's
so
wild.
It's amazing. So we're really grateful for all the attention and all the love that's coming through. And it's so fun to see when people would post stories about us, yeah, to your point, like celebrities and anybody, like it's just been really great to see how it has an impact in so many people's lives, and how it is, it's very open. It's not just like, oh, you have to be between 18 and 20 to like this thing. Like it's much broader, and we have quite a broad age range in both genders and on all genders, gender inclusivity, I should say. So it's really comforting for me that we've created something that is resonating with so many people on such a wide scale.
Well, we do happen to have a special offer for everyone listening, and this is actually a big deal, everyone, because when I checked my email before we started recording, I was like, oh dang, I didn't expect you to give us that much savings. And so once Julia and I talk and I say, this is a big discount, we probably don't need to do a big discount like this, but we're going to honor that, because I definitely want to do that. So with that in mind, I'm just going to pull up my little thing here. You can go to sagedapp.com and download it. But if you download it, sagedapp.com/upsell4, so the number 4. So sagedapp.com/upsell4/guest, then you will actually receive a membership. Instead of it being $99 a year, $99.99, then you're going to get it for $49.99. So that's a $50 savings. That's 50% off. So that's really crazy. And that's extended to you as a listener of podcasts. So thank you, Julia, for doing that. And we will be putting this in the show notes, by the way, everyone, because I realize you may not be near a pen and paper to write down what I shared. So we'll definitely put that in the show notes. And but if you're listening and even if you can't find the show notes, be sure to email us, clientcare@souljourneys.ca, and we'll make sure that we get that information for you. So thank you for your generosity.
Yeah, no, our pleasure. We want everybody to be able to experience the glory of Sage Premium. And with that premium purchase, you would get access to all the live classes that we have. And we also have an extensive library of master classes on all the spiritual topics. So that really unlocks the full power of Sage. There's lots you can do for free, like tons of things you can community groups and posts and whatever, but the premium one really gives you the support you need. And the beauty with our live classes also is that we always do Q&A at the end. So there's an opportunity for you to ask questions directly to these world-renowned teachers, which is like, whoa, that's not every day that you get that kind of visibility or care. And oftentimes we have teachers also do workshops, so they will pick volunteers, so you can be an active participant in what we're doing, which just brought so much healing and so many eye openers to our members. So we would love to have you as a Sage Premium member. We call this the Friends and Family rate because that's what we consider you to be. So we'd love to have you join us there. And sageapp.com/upsell 4. That's for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julia. I know we're going to do this again, but before we wrap up for today, is there anything you want to share with people listening today? Some sort of inspiration or insight or something along those lines?
Yeah, definitely. First, I want to say that, we actually have a new version of Sage around the corner that I'm super excited about. And it's been a long time coming. And it's really to support everyone even more. So in addition to a daily ritual, we're also going to have a short daily meditation, 2 to 5 minutes long, to help people really drop in and get grounded and open up to the spiritual guidance. Because as I mentioned many times today, I think that's really sort of the root thing that we all need to do. Just drop in with ourselves. So that's something I'm super excited to be sharing with you guys. We're also introducing something we're calling journeys, which are a longer form, which is, maybe a 7-day practice to, let's say, one of my favorite practices, chanting. So I have these mala beads that I carry around almost all the time, like the 108 mala beads. And chanting is one of my favorite practices. So we have created these journeys that would have things like chanting that you do for a certain number of days to help you with a specific thing. So one of the chants that I really love is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, which is the mantra of Ganesh. And it helps you to remove obstacles in your way. And if anything that we need this year is to remove any obstacles that are in our way. And chanting this beautiful practice, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, for a set amount of days can really help energetically unblock you. So things like that will also come along that I really hope and pray would be a great tool for people to really get going to wherever their heart wants to pull them to.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I love that. And yes, I'm not a big long meditator, so 2 to 5 minutes is really ideal for me. I'm a generator. I've got to go. Like, let's be quick, let's be efficient, which is kind of, I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but I can get a lot done in a quick amount of time. So
same
I
here.
love that you're creating that.
Yes, we create what you seek, right, Jennifer? So it's like that. I'm the same way. It has to be in and out, but I still need to do it. So it's really what this is built towards. It's like for people who have a lot of things going on, that half-hour meditation, maybe I'm lucky to get it once a week or sometimes once a month, but like the little one, if it's a chant or a meditation, like it has to be every day, but it needs to be easy.
I love that. Well, Julia, thank you so much for bringing your grace and your wisdom and your generosity to everyone today. And thanks to all of you for being with us. We're going to wrap it up for today, but we will definitely see you again next time. So have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bye for now.
Very much.